My name is Sarah Reyneveld. I'm president of the Graduate and Professional Student Senate, and I'm here on behalf of GPSS, both to express my excitement about our first inaugural Science and Policy Summit, and also to express my gratitude to the planning that really made this event possible. To provide a little history, in 2007, as vice president, I worked to conceptualize with the then president and execute the first annual higher education summit that was really devoted to having a conversation about funding for higher education. Fast forward to 2011, and I'm honored that GPSS is sponsoring our first annual Science and Policy Summit, which will really facilitate a critical dialogue regarding research at the forefront of science and policy. The Science and Policy Summit could not be more timely or relevant, as it is truly focused not only on addressing the critical pressing issues that we find ourselves facing globally and also locally today, but because it is going to do so through a combination of innovative and interdisciplinary techniques. First, the summit, as you will see, will address some of the most global pressing challenges of our generation and grapple with how the research that we're doing, both as graduate students and as scholars at the University of Washington, is really going to better the people's lives, and here, both at our home state in Washington and abroad. At the University of Washington, Provost Lindstrom is actually leading a strategic planning exercise that students have been involved in. It's called the 2 Years to Do 2 Decades Initiative, and it's asking some questions, the purpose of which is to identify the needs and opportunities that the UW should be responding to, and also which of society's major issues should the UW be most focused on and solving in the coming years. The issues that this diverse group of stakeholders through the 2I, 2D process, including students, faculty, and community stakeholders identified as being the most pressing are really the issues that our panels are going to be focusing on here today. They are environmental sustainability and clean energy, followed by health and economic vitality. Second, in addition to really solving and grappling with these pressing scientific and policy issues, the summit's going to address the interdisciplinary dialogue between experts at the intersection of science and policy. Like many graduate students, I came to this university because it was not only a leader in my chosen discipline, but because it offered an opportunity to broaden my perspective through an interdisciplinary focus. As a 2008 graduate student of the Evans School of Public Affairs, I earned my interdisciplinary environmental management certificate here from the Program on the Environment, where I took a variety of courses on the intersection of policy and science, including courses on science and policy and law, etc. As a third-year law student focused on environmental policy, I was really able to use this background to co-found a journal really focused on environmental law and policy, the Washington Journal for Environmental Law and Policy. I raised my own experience here as a graduate student not because I think it is unique, but because I think it is actually the norm in an institution that's really on the cutting edge of policy and science. The UW truly understands that global leaders of tomorrow will have to grapple with these questions that include, for example, not only the science, how do we measure climate change, but also the policy. How does Washington State implement an alternative energy strategy here at home? Lastly, it is worth noting that while listening and interacting with a series of experts in the fields of policy, research, and science on our panels here today, there will also be an opportunity for you as graduate students to represent your research through a poster presentation and presentations after that. Through my involvement with GPSS, I'm really made aware each day of the amazing research and discoveries that go on here that graduate students make each day. I'm particularly hopeful that the Science and Policy Summit will provide an invaluable opportunity for you to interact with key policymakers in your chosen disciplines and to share your work with your peers and colleagues. So on behalf of GPSS, thank you so much for being here today and enjoy the summit.